Hello and welcome to the Spotlight Games Podcast, episode 98, part 3 of the top 100. We're back. We took a little snooze last week because one of us, I'm not going to say who, was dying. But we're
shockingly,
back.
Shockingly,
it was me to cover games 60 through 41 of the top 100. You must wait no longer to get your next fix of 20 more games that you, our audience, have decided are of the top 100 games of all time. Joining me, as always, my sweet dumpster boy, Cayman Darty. Cayman, how are you?
Motherfucker, I'm unhinged.
Ooh.
I'm unhinged. I've been in a bad mood for like 3 weeks.
And this is, everything is going to turn around tonight. I can feel it.
Like, here's the thing. I've saved all positive energy that I have to muster for this episode.
Good. So I don't expect 1 ounce of negativity out of you, son of a
bitch.
bitch.
Man, you're still gonna get it.
You son of a bitch. That other voice you haven't heard yet. That quiet man. Back on the pod, the first time in months. I think. Have you been here since the trial of Cayman Darty? That's Boston Mike.
Yeah, he came.
I came on a couple of times. It's good to be back. It still.
I couldn't remember. It does still smell the same. I couldn't remember when the trial was, whether that was most recent or not. I know you've been here a few times. You've been around the block, Mike.
Mm-hmm. I've been used and abused.
Oh, that's a tall accusation.
I'm a tall boy.
You're a tall drink of scotch or something.
Fucking
nutsack.
Boys, I'm so glad to be back. Last week, for those of you who didn't know, I finally got COVID. After nearly 4 years. We're getting to 4 years. In between 3.5 and 4 years.
Holy shit, finally, 4 years?
Well, 2020, it's about to be 2024. Carry the one. That's about to be 4 years. So finally got it. And boy, did it fucking knock me on my dome, brother.
Yeah.
It was bad. But I'm back. I'm alive. So they say. We got Liz in the chat. We got Cognitive Clips in the chat. Come on. Already feeling the love. We got a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games Podcast where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live, normally Tuesdays at 8 p.m., but right now a Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod. So be sure to follow us there so that you're notified when we go live so you can be part of the conversation, especially when it's a day that we don't normally go live. If you don't follow us on socials, you don't follow us on Twitch, you're not going to know when we're spicing up the schedule because one of us tried to be interesting and fucking die. Cayman. Save Trash Cinema's back, doggy dog. Tell us about it.
Jesus fucking Christ. It's about time, right? It's about fucking time. It's about fucking time. SCC's back, baby. And, well, let's just put it this way. We start off with an episode that can get us canceled.
Whoa.
Love it.
Talk about a lofty accusation.
That's the best way to never do it again. I get it.
You know, here's the thing, boys. We talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about some things that aren't great, like fish, like the ocean, like Jesus.
Well, fish don't have souls, so
exactly. Fish can't even get into heaven, and these fish are evangelizing. So, here's the thing: this episode is bad.
It's good promo,
which means you need to go listen today because it is live, baby.
There's nothing better than promoting a podcast with "It's bad. You should listen."
Look, here's if anyone knows STC at this point and has listened to a single episode, they know the qualifying factor you're looking for is for me to say this episode is bad.
Sure.
Because if the episode's not bad, then we're not going to say something super offensive. I'm not going to be talking about giving Jesus a hand job if the episode's not bad. But guess what, baby? This episode's bad. And we do talk about giving Jesus a hand job. So go to your favorite podcast streaming services and listen today.
Look, everyone needs one and every now and then. And Jesus is a part of everyone.
Sure. I say it all the time. I say it all the time.
We say it all the time. It's a pretty common thing we say. Well, gentlemen, STC is back, but so is Spotlight Games with part 3 of the top 100. We've already covered games 100 to 61 over the course of 2 episodes. Now we got Boston Mike and the Dumpster Boy here to unveil games 60 through 41. I tell you what, it's a pretty good list.
Some of my favorite numbers.
There's some really good numbers between the numbers 41 and 60. 47, a good number.
Great number.
Kanan, what's your favorite number between 41 and 60?
41 and 60?
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
You can't count that high.
That's true.
Honestly, dude, if I had to choose 41 to 60, I'm going to go with 42.
42? Okay.
Going with 42.
I can get behind that.
Why are you snubbing your nose up, Boston Mike? That's 42. It's the answer to all life. Like, why do we exist? This is the number 42.
Liz brings up a great point in the chat. 47 feels like Thursday to me, and I can't explain things. I agree. 47 certainly feels like a Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey, are you hearing some echoing from me?
No. Sound good.
Liz and Cognitive Clips, let me know if you're hearing a little echoing, because Cayman's hearing a little echoing, and what I don't want in our triumphant return to the top 100 is a little echo from your boy.
Not on my watch.
Okay. Keep me posted. Well, gentlemen, let's bring up this week's edition of the top 100 games. We're going to be starting off with number 60. Look, if you've been here once, you've been here a million times, but let's just say you've only been here once and this is your first time. What is the top 100? To a certain degree, it's self-explanatory, but here's the thing. The way that this top 100 list was put together was by our audience. We sent out a call to them. We said, give us your top 15 games of all time. Interpret that whatever that means to you. Is it going to be your best games, your favorite games, your most nostalgic games? Whatever top 15 means to you, give it to us. Number 1 got 15 points, all the way down to number 15 getting 1 point. We did a bunch of math. We did a bunch of science. And this list that we've gone through has been your decided top 100 games. So now we're going to be jumping in to numbers 60 through 41. Gentlemen, are we ready?
I'm hyped.
Yeah?
TBH.
Yeah? I can feel the hype coming, just emanating from you and your screen. Let's get into it. Number 60, the first unveiling for this week's pod. Originally released in the year 2009. This is 2 years until the year 2011, which is the 10-year anniversary of 9/11.
Whoa.
That's Uncharted 2 for the PS3. Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
Bonkers bizarre.
Here's the thing.
Bonkers bizarre.
Great video game. Is it the best Uncharted? No.
What is the best Uncharted, Patrick?
See, personally,
sure,
I think 4 makes the most sense as being the best Uncharted. But if you've never played any of them, maybe 4 isn't the best to you. I had the most
playing
fun.
It right now.
Are you? I had the most fun with Uncharted 3 myself.
Really? Okay, so that's the one that so for my ranking, it goes 2, 4, 3, 1.
Interesting. So you
I don't include Lost Legacy in the mix. I don't know, for some reason Lost Legacy didn't really click for me. There's just something about my sweet Nathan Drake.
You hate women.
So
I hate women, apparently. Yes.
That is a fact. We all know that. I'm playing. This is my first kiss of Uncharted franchise. And I'm going backwards. That's how I do it. And I'm playing Uncharted 4, but I was reading some things because I was trying to figure out a little bit about the Uncharted franchises. And I heard or read that Uncharted 2 is when the games actually become good. Like Uncharted 1 is completely different than Uncharted 2, 3, and 4. Like they're completely different games.
I'm sorry, you're starting at 4 and going backwards?
Mike, I love you, bro. And I know you know I love you, but you are fucking insane. You don't have a screw loose, sir. Your whole brain is hanging out in a goddamn aisle 8 at a Home Depot right now, brother.
Why? I understand the concept of Uncharted. I'm going to go on an adventure and find a object.
You're finding Jesus in the wrong place, brother.
And what are you doing with that boy? You're giving him a hand job, brother. Here, I'm not here to shame you for going from 4 to 1. I'm just confused by the choice.
Well, Uncharted 4 is on the PlayStation Plus for free.
Okay,
so
sure.
I was like, all
The
right,
Uncharted collection is on PlayStation Plus for free too.
But Uncharted 4 is the newest one, and I like new things.
Sure.
Jesus
Look,
Christ, he's having FOMO like 8 years after the game came out.
I'm having fun, and that's all that matters.
And that's all that matters. And that's what we're here for, is having fun.
Fucking Christ.
But
get him out of here.
Mike, you're right, though, in that it is a pretty common, agreeable statement to say that the series got good at 2. Now, if you played 1 when it was released, you probably liked 1. But if you played 1 by the time 2 came out, it feels so old comparatively. So 2 is when the systems really started kind of jiving and
you're gonna
feeling good.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to straight up skip playing 1 entirely.
Yeah,
you're gonna get an hour in and be like, I don't want to play this shit anymore.
Yeah, really, I think the only value in starting with 2 and going through is just so that the characters mean more to you when you play through 4. But I do think 4 is the best game, and like if you were to only play one of them, I would say just play 4.
It's like, Mike, you're saying like you're starting Twilight at Breaking Dawn.
Part 2.
And then you're working back. No, you're just starting at Breaking Dawn. You skipped.
Great film.
Breaking Dawn Part 2. You just started there.
I don't think
you don't even get to see Renesmee yet.
I mean, that's a great comparison because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You get what happens in that series. It's like, she's in love with the vampire. Vampires don't love her.
Liz is going to come
stuff out.
Liz is going to come to this fucking chat. Mike, she's going to bust your balls, brother.
I like Twilight.
We're off to a great start. Great franchise.
We're already halfway through the episode, and we haven't even gotten past 60 yet.
We've been recording for 2 hours.
Motherfuckers.
2 hours later. Number 59, next up on the list, released in the year 2000 for the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the Nintendo 64. Ever heard of it? Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Here's the thing. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3? Better.
Shut up. Shut up, dude. Just shut up.
You're gonna be like, I'm gonna start an Uncharted 4 and work backwards, and then you're just gonna like try to tell me I'm wrong. You're gonna try to tell me I'm wrong.
Oh boy,
you're telling me I'm wrong.
We're off to a great start, fellas. Is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 the one where you can play as Spider-Man?
Yes.
Fucking
3 you can play as Wolverine.
Wolverine, cool character. I would rather skateboard as Spidey personally.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I don't think you can go wrong with a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
No, not at all.
Unless it's 5. We don't do 5.
Oh, no. 5 is terrible.
If Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is 59, and I forget if maybe it was in the back 40, so help me out, but I'd be shocked if a different Tony Hawk's game is in later on.
I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. I can scroll through and see. I would be willing to bet this is the one Tony Hawk.
I want to say I had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 on my list. I'm just not sure where it was on my list.
I remember seeing multiple Tony Hawks. I think there was even an Underground at one point. But
that's what I was going to say. Thug is the best one.
Underground definitely didn't make the top 100, but
Underground was fun. Love a good open world.
But man, the hours we spent playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, any of them, when I was a kid.
It's funny you say that. I actually distinctly remember I did the Create a Skater and made Jesus. Because you can do the Jesus Christ air. That's a move you can do with a skateboard. And dude, I'd cheat code it in, give him max stats. So this motherfucker would just do 400. He would do like a 1 billion in the air, holding it up like you know, doing that thing.
Oh yeah.
I used to love creating when you'd create your park and like mess around with it, and then you'd break through the glass and go into like the office, skate out, do a Bob Burnquist butt slide. Into whatever else you want. We used to always just try to like take turns and sketch and grind and then do moves and try to keep it going for as long as you can for who could get like the highest score of like a move until like you fell.
Oh yeah. And trying to perfect the manuals, is that what we called them when you were just like on the to keep those combos going. Oh, Liz in the chat, best soundtrack ever. I will argue over this. Man, the soundtracks for these games are fucking
it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. Oh, what a great game. I'm glad it made the list. Next up, we're sticking in the early 2000s for the next few, folks. This next one, an Xbox exclusive. I want to say Not true. I was going to say the first Xbox exclusive of the brand, but that's not true. We've had a few Xbox exclusives, but I think this might be the first OG Xbox exclusive, and that is Halo Combat Evolved at number 58.
Perfect placement for Halo.
Man,
Last good Halo game.
Okay,
I would disagree with that personally.
Yeah, I would disagree.
But man, like I think it was last episode, Liz in the chat was talking about one of the Call of Duties being like the ultimate LAN party game. For me, this was the ultimate LAN party game of
the first.
I think I've talked about it on the podcast before, but my older brother, Andrew, he's about 5 years older than me. So when this game came out, let's see what, 2001, I don't have the brain capacity to do math right now. I don't know how old I was, but he was older than me. I want to say he was in high school then. No, he would have been middle school. Anyway, having his friends over in the basement, multiple TVs, LAN party, we're all playing Halo. Fucking take me back.
Yeah. We used to like have, multiple of the different Halos. And I'm sure we'll probably talk about some other ones. I'd be shocked if we don't. This was the one where if you wanted to square up 1v1, this had the best maps for 1v1. Like this is where you went for just sniping 1v1s, and it would just go out here. Yeah, exactly. And then the other ones would usually be for like larger game parties.
Yeah, for sure. Man, the amount of hours from the year 2001 to like 2000, like 6 or 7 when Halo 3 came out, the amount of Halo we fucking played in the Schweigert household. So goddamn much. Great game. Halo Master Chief Collection, pretty good collection if you ever want to go replay Halo. Next up on the list, number 57, originally released on the PC in the year 2004. We're breaking away from 15 points. We're in our first 16 pointer.
Whoa.
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
What's the thing?
That's it. That's all I got. That's it.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. I have nothing to say about World of Warcraft outside of I have never had a PC that would be strong enough to be able to run this. I also don't think I could justify ever paying a subscription price to play a singular video game.
Mike, did you ever play World of Warcraft? Were you?
I did. I loved World of Warcraft. I didn't get to play it as much as I wanted because, as what came and said, I didn't have a computer that was strong enough. But I was a kid, so I was like, video game PC. I was like, I have it, so bought it, and then it would just be so slow. But like anytime I would like you'd play it, I'd get to like in the high 20s of my level, and then like everything just started getting slow. But I loved it. Like my favorite thing about World of Warcraft was having a companion, and I remember just like the trailer cutscenes. I wanted that damn grizzly bear for my companion so bad, so bad. But I mean, you stood the test of time for a video game, regardless of how you feel about it. If South Park makes an episode about you, and it's the hands down best maybe South Park episode of all time.
I also didn't own this game myself, but I wanted it like a fucking drug because I didn't have a strong enough PC either. I had a strong enough PC for like Warcraft 3 type games, Command and Conquer, which we've talked about on a previous episode. But the MMO, I never had a computer strong enough. And also, I don't think I could have ever convinced my sweet mother to pay like $15 a month or whatever it was for this. But that being said, a friend of mine in middle school, James, I would go to James's house all the time.
Old James.
He had World of Warcraft
too. Anybody know?
He looks happy and healthy, has a beautiful wife. Haven't talked to him in a long time though.
Good for him.
Great for him. But so I would go to his house. His house was the like sleepover house in middle school because his parents didn't give a fuck what we did. So we would stay up all night playing video games. It's also how I put like 130 hours into Oblivion, but different game, different number on the list probably.
We should talk about the sleepovers at the Schweigert household.
Oh, we should. Well, I know what you mean. But World of Warcraft, I would go over there, and so the thing, my experience with World of Warcraft, I never got above like level 10 because I would start a character on James's computer. I would do all the basic like first quests of like go pick up this thing, and so I never got to have like great armor or do any of the big quests. So for me, I would be like, man, World of Warcraft not very fun, but everyone is obsessed with it. But it's because I never got to the good shit, like because I never had it myself. But absolutely should be on the list for sure. This is an all-timer, probably one of the most important PC games ever. I think most people would agree with. So respect to World of Warcraft. But 57. Pretty weak. Fucking PC game. I can tell you what. Number 56. Some people say the greatest game of all time. Some people say the first big game of all time. And we're not talking about Pong. We're talking about Tetris.
Who the hell voted for this?
Patrick.
It more than one person because it has 16 points.
I know.
Patrick, were you one
Tetris.
of them?
I actually wasn't one of them.
I'm shocked by that. You love Tetris.
I do love Tetris. Tetris Connect is what really, that and Tetris 99 really made me a Tetris lover. I always liked Tetris as a kid, but I always felt like I wasn't smart enough to really do well with it. But those games, fucking Tetris Connect.
You know what I love about Tetris is the box that says "From Russia with Fun," because you know for a fact now, if Russia were to release a video game like this, like in the way that Tetris was released, it would just be so full of malware, and also would be like your grandparent. It would just be feeding your grandparents propaganda about like how Antifa is currently running every Starbucks in the world.
God, great game though. I mean, this is another one of those similar to World of Warcraft. Don't really care where on the list it is. Tetris deserves to be in a top 100.
Oh
list,
yeah, 100%
for sure.
Yeah,
Mike, are you a Tetris boy?
No, it was on BlackBerry. That was like the game that you played when you got in trouble,
brother. Can I just
shout out to the BlackBerry though?
Can I just petition right now? Mike never comes back.
Wow, that's not how we treat our guests. Cayman, apologize right now.
Never.
Straight
up. We're not gonna go to 55 until you apologize,
bro.
Mike's the only person that still calls me. Okay,
Cayman, we're not gonna go to 55 unless you apologize to Mike right now.
Why would I need to apologize for Mike? Mike knows.
Because you were just mean to our guest.
Okay, fine, Mike. Boston Mike, I'm so sorry.
That's right, bitch.
There you go. Number 55. You know, if you hadn't have apologized, we never would have gotten to one of your favorite games of all time.
God, is it There Will Be Blood, the video game?
God, can you imagine? Can you imagine There Will Be Blood, the video game?
He's just watching cows out at pasture for fucking 2 hours.
I would drink that milkshake right up. At number 55 with 18 points, originally released in 2004 on the PlayStation 2, Katamari Damacy.
Fucking go. Here's my thing. I know for a fact my wife, she did not submit a list.
Yeah.
So who else is out there that's the Katamari Damacy fan?
We got a Katamari warrior.
There's someone else out there that is with me, because this was like number 2 on my list, obviously. Katamari Damacy it's the game.
It's the game.
It's the game. It is. There's nothing I can tell you about this game that like will make any sense. But what I can tell you is if you play this game, you will most likely just love it. You will find there's something about the soundtrack, there's something about the gameplay loop that is so simple. It is like ASMR the video game. I think is probably the best way to explain it. Even at the end when the music speeds up and you're like your timer's running out and you're frantically freaking out like, oh my God, like it's still fucking relaxing.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the only reason that, well, not the only reason, but like the main reason that I would specifically be like, I would get a PlayStation Portal would be to play this. And you could say, Cayman, you can play this on your Switch. You are correct. But I could just sit in bed trophy hunting and finally platinum Katamari Damacy, which I've never done before because the trophy list is insane. You have to collect every single item in the entire game.
Shuhei Yoshida wants this of you.
I think he does. And so if anyone's out there wants to donate to the Cayman's super fucking broke right now, GoFundMe Patreon page link.
It's in the description.
No, this game fucking rules. Everyone should play Katamari Damacy. You can get it on Switch. You can get it on PlayStation. They just released We Love Katamari Reroll. So you can play the first 2 games remastered. They feel great. They've got new additional content. And they're cheap. They're not that much. I think you can get the Katamari Damacy right now, I think, on PlayStation for like, I don't know, like less than $20. So
fucking pennies.
Yeah, and it's great. Put it on your list. Patrick's played it. He can testify. It's a great game.
And The soundtrack is infectious. Schmoss in the chat. Katamari on the Wings is a banger. The soundtrack is fucking full of bangers, top to bottom. Incredible music. One of the weirdest games I've ever played. It's a great time. Take some mushrooms and play this game.
Oh hell yeah!
Ooh,
just do any drug. It doesn't matter.
Fucking give me some meth.
I was thinking the same thing. Do some meth and play Katamari. You can platinum that game in 3 hours.
You can platinum any game in 3 hours.
Any game in 3 hours. Yeah.
Next up at number 54, originally released in the year 2016 on the PC, Stardew Valley. My sweet beautiful wife. I tried to convince her to come give some truth about Stardew, but she got a little camera shy.
She was like, I'm not going to show my face on camera with Cayman right now.
Exactly. She said, if Cayman exists, I'm not talking about Stardew. She hasn't talked about Stardew in 30 years because of that. But no, Stardew Valley, I've played a little bit of Stardew. So I can at least attest to like what I've played of it. But then I've also seen her play it for like 900 hours. Like that. It looks like the perfect video game for like the cozy vibe, the like not city building, like farm building. It's like check the box the video game. Like there's so many things you can do in it.
I think it would be like cottage core the video game.
Ooh, sure. Yeah. And also made by one dude.
Yeah, what is the guy's name?
Childish Gambino. Probably. No,
probably
it's something ape.
It's Concerned Ape, I think.
Concerned Ape.
His new game that is still not come out, and who knows when, because it's just one dude. The Chocolatier sounds great. Sydney is my wife is also a huge Stardew fan, and she actually she has Stardew pictures in her office. Like she's and it is. I would say I think Stardew probably started outside of maybe Animal Crossing. Which I think Animal Crossing existed, and same with like fucking like Harvest Moon and those kind of games. But I think Stardew really was the game that was like, there is like the cozy vibe games, like the genre with the fucking Seasons of whatever and the Animal Crossing. But like Stardew was like, we're gonna make the cozy vibe game like what an indie game is known for.
For sure.
Really just fucking launched that whole subgenre of games into the stratosphere.
I feel like Stardew Valley made the cozy genre like touch the mainstream and bring in a lot of gamers to introduce them to video games, so that games I feel like Stardew is a big reason why Animal Crossing 2020 had a huge,
probably,
obviously, I mean COVID played a huge part in that too, but that game introduced this genre to so many people that and then Liz in the chat replayed it 3 times. It's so fucking good. Resonates with women. It's great. Was on my list easy. The soundtrack is literally perfection. Like there's so many great things about Stardew. Certainly should be on the list.
I take umbrage with something that Liz just said, that it's a game for women.
And which she said it resonates with women.
Resonates. Then I would say the same thing, that Bulletstorm also resonates with women.
Oh gosh, the Cayman Darty, the voice of women.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Next up on the list at number 53, another PS2 game. We're having a lot of PS2 this episode. Originally released in 2005 and then again in 2018. Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Ratchet and Clank, and I was so fucking excited. Shadow of the Colossus is great, though, too, so I'll accept it.
Mike, have you played Shadow of the Colossus?
I have downloaded it on my PS5.
Okay. You should play it.
I clicked on it, and then I'm almost certain that I looked at my phone, and I was like, oh, I have to do other things, and ran away, and I never got to it yet. But this is a game that when I go down, or actually when rabbit holes just happen to you, like when you're on your phone, you don't realize you're going down a rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, like I'm trying to find the videos of this game, like what is this? And you have no idea. This was one of those games, because people just post videos. It's my biggest pet peeve. They post sick videos of like movies or video games, and they just don't say what it is. And so then I'm just looking, and I'm like, I'm like researching, Googling like big stone guy video game, and then I'm like, what is this? And then Shadow of the Colossus, and all of a sudden it's like a huge game that I just
you end up in the weird part of Steam, Big Stone Guy, the video game, and it's some weird ass dating sim where you're just a
Ooh.
bunch of golems fucking live on
Yeah.
screen. Yeah,
God.
Patrick's been there. Patrick
been
and I
there.
have had a whole moment looking at some of this weird shit together.
I've been there.
Mhm.
Shadow of the Colossus, Schmott's in the chat. My bad take is that this is not a good game. That's the thing, though. I totally understand why someone wouldn't like Shadow of the Colossus. Like it's just a game of boss fights with a world that is completely dead. Like there's nothing really in the world other
And
than
that's like
riding around and finding these giant.
Yeah, I heard like
colossi.
nothing happens. You
And that's
just
the
run and you're
narrative,
trying to
though.
find you're just trying to find like a colossus in this open world with nothing in it.
Well, that's okay. Here's the thing.
There is a story reason for it.
The narrative
Yeah.
itself explains why. And what I think Shadow of the Colossus does well compared to something like anything by FromSoft, to be honest with you, is that it actually tells a story. The world's a desolate wasteland, and there's a narrative thread that explains why. Whereas something like FromSoft is like, we just hate you, but you're gonna buy our shit, so we're gonna half-ass it and not give you a story every time. That's fucking exactly what they do.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't this is Studio Japan, Team Eco.
You're right, but if any chance I can get to insult Miyazaki, I fucking will, baby.
But when this game originally came out, there had never been a game like it before, like at all. And that the scale that this game kind of portrays of you fighting these colossi, I think at the time, it resonated with a lot of people in a cool way of like, oh, wow, I've never played anything like this before. There's never been another video game like this before. So then you cut to 2018 when they remake it, Blue Point remakes it and are able to make it feel, like a modern game and all that. But like in a way, you can still really see kind of what lacks in this video game. But if it works for you, it fucking works for you, and it works for me. I wouldn't say this is one of my favorite games by any means. Like it wasn't on my list, but I understand why it would be in someone's top 15. It's definitely a game to try, and if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, and that totally makes sense. But it's a really cool game that like really is like scale the video game, like fighting monsters that are the size of the fucking Empire State Building, and it working in a weird way. Like the way they do it, it works. It's like there's this really cool thing where the colossi are also puzzles. It's not just a fight. It's like, how do I even beat this thing that if they step on me, I'm dead? Like so it's a fun like brain puzzle game too.
I think it's cool too. It's like, and it definitely, I think, originated or at least perfected the boss rush like gameplay style, which I think was really cool and very much like, I don't think people look at this game like that. And I think that that's a disservice to what this game is and what this game does.
For sure. Great game. Mike, I think you should give it a shot at some point. Next up, throw it at the top of the list. Next up, we're breaking the 20-point barrier. This next game starts our 20 pointers. This game originally released in the year 2001 on the GameCube and the Dreamcast. Maybe not at the same time, but definitely around the same time. Some people say one of the greatest video games of all time. Sonic Adventure 2. I think when it was on the GameCube, it was a Sonic Adventure 2 battle. So I think the Dreamcast was the original release. What a fucking game, boys.
Here's the thing. People who own Dreamcast, like that's a sign of pre-crime. So I didn't surround myself with people with Dreamcast. In fact, I remember my friend had a Dreamcast, and we all destroyed it in the back with baseball bats because it just had to be done.
I don't know what Evan Brando's doing on this list right now, but the Dreamcast fucking sucks.
Well, I played this on the GameCube myself, but I'll agree the Dreamcast is garbage. And I hope Evan's listening and he's just punching a pillow right now. So angry with us.
Good.
In the chat, Dreamcast goated. I don't agree. But Sonic Adventure 2 battle for me on the GameCube, opening mission, fucking Escape from the City, one of the greatest songs in a video game ever. You're on the wing of a jet plane, snowboarding down the street. You're streetboarding as Sonic.
Yep. I'll say it right now, dude, Knuckles, that there has never been a legitimately good 3D Sonic game.
This game rips. Is it bad? Yes. Does it rip? Yeah.
Look, man, as you know, I love bad games, so.
And Schmatz makes a great point. This game gave us Shadow the Hedgehog, for fuck's sake. The sexual icon of Shadow.
I was gonna
with his
say
rollerblades.
this game essentially started what fanfic couldn't do.
Sure.
Yeah, I have.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
You go.
No.
Fuck it, I'll go then. Big dick.
No. Time out. I just kind of realized that why is Sonic fast? Hedgehogs aren't fast at all. They just roll.
Well, he rolls. Look,
Yeah,
I don't
he's
know.
super fast.
I can't speak from a lore standpoint of why Sonic is fast. But Schmatz brings up a great point. Why does Mario jump? Are Italians known for jumping? I don't think so.
Actually, that is scientifically true. Italians have the biggest leaps.
I think whoever created Sonic, Steve Sonic, just had a vision, and he executed that vision at its fullest with Sonic Adventure 2. With his boy Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog.
That's fair.
Him and Tails, come on, in their Chow Garden. Ugh.
Okay. Okay. Here's the thing: is apparently Sonic has always had super speed, but his power sneakers help him harness and unleash the full power without harming himself.
Yeah.
So he's like Mike.
It's all about the sneakers, baby.
Yeah.
51, number 51, still at 20 points. Originally released in 2007. This list is full of the 2000s. This is the list. On the 360 and the PS3, this is a game that I believe all of us played a lot. And that is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes.
We've already talked about its sequel, Modern Warfare 2. I always, and I maybe said the reverse last episode, but all I'm doing is living my truth now, baby. I always preferred the first Modern Warfare in terms of its campaign, at least.
Oh, it definitely. So, fun fact, actually, the first time I played this game was on a Wii.
Wow.
Yuck.
Yeah. Wow, that is yuck.
So, going back and playing it on like the PlayStation 3 and then doing that first mission was like an eye-opening experience.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was really late. This game's cool.
That's like your first pizza being a bagel bite. It's just yuck.
You know that there's an Italian out there right now who is just fucking beating.
What? Yeah, let's stop that sentence.
I'm gonna stop that sentence right there.
There we go. Very good. Look, I've always said you could probably find it on a podcast or somewhere. I've always said if you can put pizza on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime.
Facts.
You know what? So, I think you have said that.
To get back to Call of Duty though.
Thank you.
The MP5, goated. The best game of all time. They had to nerf it for the other games because it had the best recoil. You could just shoot anywhere. And I'll give a quick shout out to my boy Beans57. You know who you are. At one point when this game came out, I remember he was ranked in the top 100 online.
Wow.
He is a sicko at Call of Duty.
Apparently. Put Beads 57 behind bars, I say.
Straight up.
He's now out there right now. He's currently having kidney failure from the amount of G Fuel he's consuming on a daily basis. This motherfucker.
Sponsored by G Fuel. Schmatz, I played multiplayer so much it fragged my PS3. I played so much Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare multiplayer. It didn't frag mine. Yeah. I played this on 360, but
360 for sure.
Red ring to me. But yeah, great game. Definitely deserves to be on the list. And as we said last time, the Modern Warfare duo is when I exited the franchise. I didn't really play very much after Modern Warfare. Next up on the list, number 50. We're entering the top 50 of the top 100. We've covered half of the list so far. Next up, again with 20 points, originally released in 2002, we're back to the GameCube. Metroid Prime. I recently played. I pulled a picture, for our visual folks. I pulled the remastered cover art because it looked better. I recently started playing through remastered, but there's so many fucking games this year. I didn't finish it. I need to go back because I never played Metroid Prime originally on the GameCube. I remember us renting it at one point, but I didn't play it. I think my brother played it. Either of you fuck with Metroid Prime?
I never really played it. I remember I found out that Metroid was a girl while playing Super Smash Bros. That blew my mind.
Sure.
Did it blow your mind, Mike, or did it blow something else? If you know what I mean, brother.
Come on, brother.
Right, go there.
Yeah, dude. Metroid Prime fucks. That's that game. I don't know. That game's. I think it's interesting specifically for the GameCube, which wasn't really known as like a shooter console. You know,
For sure.
Like the PlayStation, Xbox, they had Halo. You've got Medal of Honor. You've got the first Call of Duty games. So like, not a lot of this comes to the GameCube. So for them to take one of their hottest IP at the time and then turn that into a first-person shooter was fucking revolutionary, and it rules, man.
A lot of people, I feel like I hear so many people say Metroid Prime is like peak Metroidvania in a video game. Like,
yeah.
And Cognitive Clips in the chat, this is about 40 to 49 spots, too low. I hear so many people say this is their favorite video game of all time. So that's why I want to go back and play this one specifically, because I've heard so much about it. I've just never finished it myself. So hopefully by the end of this year, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about Metroid Prime. But the first one in the top 50 at number 50, Metroid Prime with 20 points. Next up with 22 points. This is when, from here on, this is when we start kind of, there are a lot fewer ties, or we're in like point ranges very quickly. We're jumping a lot more here. At 22 points, number 49, originally released in 2001 on the PS2, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X with Tidus.
This is my favorite Final Fantasy game.
It's a great fucking game.
This is my favorite, hands down. Final Fantasy X. I've played through this game several times, and I'm the kind of person who like rarely ever replays video games unless it's very certain games like Bulletstorm and Katamari Damacy are like really the only games I play.
Sure.
A lot, because there's something about, I think Bulletstorm is because it's so short and it's stupid as fuck and it's like just a palate cleanser. Katamari Damacy, I think, just has a very nice loop. Final Fantasy X, there's something about the story here. There's the gameplay is so good. Just sitting there for hours playing Blitzball is so fucking amazing.
Blitzball
like
rules.
This game rules, and I think the truth is though there are some incredible Final Fantasy games, and I know everyone probably who's played through the series has their own favorite. Like this one to me is the one that I always recommend for people who are like, I've never played Final Fantasy. Which one should I do? I'm like, you got to go with Final Fantasy X. I think it is the game that you will play, that you will most likely not understand a goddamn thing that happens in it, because JRPGs be like that. But sure. I recommend this one all the time. I think this is for me, this is what is Final Fantasy, is this game.
Mike, you played 10?
No, I was going to say that I think this is the Final Fantasy game that would get me maybe into Final Fantasy, or the one that I would like. I never played this game. They weren't really my bag when I was growing up, but I distinctly always remember this cover art, these commercials. I remember them being plastered all over the GameStop.
Yeah.
Like I just distinctly always remember that's why I was so confused when I found out like a few years ago that every other Final Fantasy is like, they're all just their own stories. I thought that this guy, like this was Final Fantasy. I thought everything was about this guy.
I totally had the exact same experience, so much so that the aforementioned James that I would always play World of Warcraft with, his neighbor Tyler owned a PlayStation 2, and I convinced him to let me borrow it so that I could play this and I could play Kingdom Hearts, because I wanted to play those two games so much. And so I devoured Final Fantasy X. It was the first one that I played through fully myself. Although I think now that I say that, I think I got to the end and wasn't highly leveled enough and got stuck. And I actually don't think I ever finished it, but I got really, really far in it. But going back to the scale conversation, I feel like because this was the first Final Fantasy on a PS2, this was when I feel like their cinematics really went into a, like, this looks like a movie. The scale at which like these events are happening, like with the character of Sin being this like giant like world eating looking thing. I remember watching my neighbor play this game and just being transfixed by how cool this fucking game looks.
Well, you got to think too, so this Final Fantasy X is the first game that's going to be on the PlayStation 2, and Final Fantasy 9 really pushed the PlayStation 1 to its absolute fucking limits.
Yeah.
Like it was so pushed. And honestly, like if I look back on that game compared to like 9 compared to like 7, which I think normally get compared together, that like I'm like 9 looks worse. It's just the way the pixel art looks dog shit. Final Fantasy X looks fucking incredible, and it still looks good. And that opening cinematic for this game still looks incredible.
Yeah, Schmott's in the chat. This is the first Final Fantasy I played and completed, and I still love it. The sphere grid rules. Blitzball was fun once you leveled up, and most importantly, Auron is daddy material. Yes, he is. Come on. Come on, brother. He says the FMVs in 2001 were fucking crazy, and the intro song is still on my playlist. The intro song is still fucking ripped.
It's so good.
I think I'm gonna play Final Fantasy X once I'm done with the bullets of this year's games. Yeah. Next up, number 48 with 23 points, originally released in 2012 on the PS3, the 360, and like a zillion other platforms. The Walking Dead Season 1 by Telltale.
Here's the thing. I feel like we've like me personally, like
let me stop you there. All right, here's the thing.
Get fucked, Kevin.
You know what?
I was walked out of the dead by this time. Too much Walking Dead.
Interesting.
I never played the game. I never played any Walking Dead games. I was just, too much of the Rick Grimes in my life.
I get that. What if I told you this game has no Rick Grimes?
Oh, I know that. Yeah, this guy looks nothing like it.
Fucking Lee, a god. No, I was The Walking Dead out from a show perspective a couple years after this, because this was still kind of early. I don't remember what year the show started, but I feel like we weren't in like Negan land yet in the year 2012.
Oh yeah, I could be wrong.
But this game, I feel like, was for a lot of people something that it's just such a great story, that you playing as Lee, like protecting Clementine and trying to get her back to her family. And this was, a lot of people will say this was the first game that made them cry. Not for me, I don't think, but I certainly did cry. Fucking great game.
I think Neopets was probably the first time I cried, because my Neopet, I think, like died and I couldn't find it. So
yeah. Chambi, rest in peace. And Schmantz makes a good point. Choices actually made a difference. Like this was, even though like we've talked about on the show before, like there are a lot of Telltale games that have like that illusion of choice. This game, I played this game probably like 7 different times just to see like different things that could happen. Came in, I can't remember. Were you a big Walking Dead boy?
Oh, I can talk now?
Yes, you can.
Oh, I'm allowed to talk now? Thanks.
You can.
Mike, is it okay if I?
You can do whatever you want.
Fucking dickhead. Walking Dead, yeah. So I enjoyed the TV show, and I read through the comics in high school and enjoyed the TV show. There's a definite moment of burnout there when it was like everyone is talking, like it was just walking. Everything was a zombie thing.
Sure.
And it was just so fucking annoying. And then this game came out, and I distinctly remember trying to play it on the PlayStation 3, and it was terrible. The performance, the way it ran, this game crashed every 10 minutes.
Crashed a bunch.
And I was so upset trying to play it that I was like, I'm never touching this shit again. And then fast forward a few years, PlayStation 4, they re-released it for the PlayStation 4. I think it was part of either the PlayStation. It was like on sale or something. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me give it a try, and I'll do it again. Absolutely fell in love with this game.
Yeah, great game.
This game is one of those where it'll make you cry. It's a fucking tearjerker of a game. It's beautiful. Everyone should play it. It's amazing.
Yeah, really fucking good game. This is another one of those ones because it's pretty short. Like it's the Telltale games, they're episodic, so it's like 1 or 2 hours an episode. So this is like a 7 to 10 hour game ish.
Yeah.
And it's one that I often consider going back and replaying because it's really fucking good. Also, Liz in the chat, this game scarred my boss. Fun fact: if you ever meet my boss, ask him about it because he's a changed man. I am interested to hear how this game scarred him because that's interesting to me. Next up, number 46. This is a game I have not played. I don't know if either of you have played it either. I hope one of you has, but if not, we can just skirt on by it. Released in 2017. Nope. Wait. I skipped ahead. The next game. This is number 47, originally released in 2004. I was looking at the wrong cell on my other sheet. Halo 2 really took away the thunder of Halo 2 in that moment.
The best.
I kind of love that you took away the thunder from this game.
Yeah, this opening sequence.
This was the first time you could dual wield in a Halo, right?
And then you could get a needler and an SMG, and you're like, oh my god, this doesn't work at all, but I'm doing it.
I remember playing so much multiplayer of Halo 2, and then I remember the campaign being so awesome until it just fucking ends, and then you realize like 15 years later that they didn't have enough time to finish it, and so they were just like, let's just make it a cliffhanger and we'll pick it up in the third game, because it has like the worst third act. There isn't one because the game just ends.
It's so bad.
Yeah, but
I forget all of Halo campaigns.
Yeah, I just remember like the vibes of it, and I remember my brothers and I finishing it and being like, "Wait, what the fuck? The game's over? How is the game over? There's no conclusion."
So I went back when playing Halo Infinite. Was like, I'm gonna watch like a deep dive of like the story explanation of Halo. Absolutely makes no fucking sense. This game has at this point like the story just don't fucking care.
It's vibes the campaign. Like it's about killing aliens, being awesome while you do it. You're dual wielding needlers.
You have fucked up when your story is more confusing than a Final Fantasy game.
I don't know that it's more confusing. I think it's just boring.
Oh no, trust me, it is way more confusing.
No, it's just it's Halo has the best. What's the term to put for it? Like personal song or theme. It has the best theme song. Like of any maybe like property. It's just the best. It gives me chills every single time I like hear it.
It's fucking great. Going through the fucking on the Warthog with that theme playing.
Yeah.
Oof, come on, brother.
All right, what's number 46? What's the game we never played?
Number 46. Released in 2017 with 24 points, Dragon Quest 11.
Dude, Dragon Quest 11 is so fucking good.
Oh, so you have played it. Okay, great.
Yes, this game
Tell me about
fucking rules. Dragon Quest is awesome. It is the art is by Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z. He does the artwork for Dragon Quest. So it's got that very
completely makes sense.
It's got that very like I don't know,
big
you
hair.
Just know, right? Like you just know when you see Dragon Quest, like, oh, this is exactly what it is. The stories are always like super cool. They're like almost like a blend between like high fantasy and like Dungeons and Dragons, almost. Like the stories are always really fun. This one in particular has like one of the coolest stories. The gameplay, the turn-based combat mechanics, and all of the characters you pick up along the way. It's one of those. It's just a great JRPG. It's like Final Fantasy X, where it's like if you want to play just a genuinely great JRPG, Dragon Quest 11 is like one of the tops of the list.
I've heard a lot of people really like it. I've just never played. I've never played any Dragon Quest game.
And I want to say too, like you could pick up a copy of Dragon Quest 11 right now for like dirt damn cheap.
Cheap, brother.
You know, is it better than 10? I dabbled with that one.
10, Dragon Quest 10. Yeah,
yes.
Dude. Yeah, 11 is peak. 11 is like it is the best Dragon Quest game.
Do you know it was interesting? Do you know? So when I was doing research, since I've never played this game, originally released on the PS4 and the 3DS. Is it a different version of the game, or?
So I don't know much about the 3DS version, but I played it personally on the PlayStation 4. And then there's like a definitive edition for the PlayStation 4. That would be the one that I would recommend to play because it's got just some additional content in it that I think kind of helps grow that out for you. And you also, if you do the definitive edition, you can get all the lady characters in bunny girl costumes. So like,
oh boy,
dude, it's a JRPG.
The voice of women here.
If you don't get gross at least once in a JRPG, are you even playing a JRPG?
That's a good
Are
question.
you?
Schmatz, if I remember, the 3DS is like an SNES RPG, but still hits the same story notes. That's really cool, actually.
That's actually really cool.
Maybe I'll play this on 3DS if the cartridge doesn't cost $90 fucking since they don't make them anymore. Okay, next up, if we have talked about it once, we've talked about it twice. We're going to talk about it a third time. Released in 2007 on the 360, the end of the trilogy, Halo 3.
Oh my god, why
It's
are
the best
we
one? It's the best one.
It just that's how the cookie crumbled. That's the way the news went this time around.
Episode
I would say
Halo.
this is also my favorite Halo.
Easily.
I remember, I think I've maybe talked about this on the podcast before, but I'm going to talk about it again. 2007, when this came out, the three of us, me and both my brothers, still lived at home. I think this is the year Andrew graduated. And like I had said already, this podcast, we played so much Halo together. We had convinced our mother to let us all stay home from school that day. And she bought us the game. We woke up, it was like on the mantle, and we got to just spend all day playing Halo 3 together, like passing the controllers back and forth. Because I can't remember. Maybe we could all play like a 3-way campaign. I don't remember if it was just 2-player co-op or if you could do 3, but we played like fucking all day, dusk till dawn. Very cherished memory. But this game, we had so much fun playing this. Mike, it sounds like this was your favorite too, you said?
Oh yeah. It's like, this is when they finally have, I believe, if I'm right, when the enemies were better in the flood at the end, like the ending battle scene and whatnot, you're just like running through so much stuff, just
Yeah.
a million things coming at you. You get to fight alongside that homeboy that I'm blanking his name. It was
the other character that you played as in the second campaign, the second game,
yeah.
Arbiter. The Arbiter. Are we talking about the Arbiter?
Yes. It was great, and then just the best maps. It's just the best online, like specifically for the beach or breach or whatever the name of that map is. It's the best. You get to first one to the snipers wins, noob tubes, rocket launchers, shotties. Everything in it is just peak.
Hell yeah. Ooh, Schmoss in the chat. Nobody was in school the day this came out. FYI. Never mind. We didn't stay home from school like to play the game. We just weren't in school anyway. But yeah, we played that game so fucking much.
Wow.
Thanks for ruining my story, Schmoss.
Wow. Wow.
Fucking just took all the thunder from my storm. Next up, 24 points, number 44 on the list. Originally released on the the GameCube in 2005, and then it came to fucking everything and was re-released this year with a remake. That game is Resident Evil 4. Pretty low, I would say.
You know, it is crazy that it is this low, because I definitely think RE4 was on my list as well.
It was on my list.
Wow. So yeah, it might have just been low on a lot of people.
I think it must have been low on a lot of people's lists with 24 points.
This game is, I mean, Patrick, we've talked at great length. I don't think there's a lot else to say here about this particular game outside of that. The two of us sat there. We played
this game so much together.
Yeah, we used to play, and and look, it was great on the GameCube. It was fantastic on the PlayStation 2. It was amazing on the Wii. Honestly, the Wii port was fucking awesome.
The Wii port fucked for sure.
The Wii port was like one of the best Wii ports of any game that came. Actually, this might be the best game that was on the Wii outside of Wii
Probably.
This game's great. There's really not anything else to say outside of like, if you've never played Resident Evil 4, like there's nothing stopping you at this point from playing it.
Yeah. And the remake, honestly, I think is the best way to play it. Like, unless you want to experience the original, because honestly, the original still holds up.
But you can still get copies of the original through like everything now.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's not like it's legitimately, it's impossible for you not to be able to play this game, whatever version you want to at this point, unless you haven't upgraded your console. Because this didn't come out on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, did it? The remake?
The remake was just PS5 and Xbox.
Okay, so unless you want to play the remake, then you wouldn't have any issue playing this version, like the standard version.
Yeah,
and the standard version is fucking great. So.
And I mean, the standard version is like it's been remastered on those consoles.
Yeah,
with some updated controls and whatnot. Also, final point on the Halo 3 story. Schmoss in the chat, he says, no. Our whole, because we went to high school together. All of Sequoia, he says, was a ghost town because everybody stayed home that day. I thought that we stayed home specifically from school to play it, but I just misunderstood your last comment. So thank you for that.
For Resident Evil 4, this is my first time ever playing it. Was a few months ago. It was great.
And you fucking loved it,
my list,
didn't you?
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh, such a fucking good game. Yeah, this was one of those ones where not many people specified whether they meant the original or the new one. A few people did, but not everybody. So it's just all of them. Play all of it. Next up on the list, number 43 with 25 points. Originally released in 2020 on like every console at that time, other than I think mobile. Spiritfarer, a fucking great game.
You know, I still haven't played it.
It is so good. So the premise, Mike, have you played this game? My gut says no.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah. So this is it's cozy adjacent. Maybe it would be considered as just like straight up cozy per se, but the premise is you are this character that like has this boat and you're essentially like guiding spirits to the afterlife. But you like on your boat you like build, it's almost like a city builder within your boat. Like
that's cool.
It's a fucking great game. But there's like farming to it. There's like the writing is like so beautiful and heartbreaking, and the art style is really fucking good. The music's great. This is like, I didn't make my list, but this is a fucking great game, especially if you like that vibe. Definitely recommend. I think it's either on Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or both. It's one of the two. Schwantz in the chat makes a great point. Don't play this if you've lost a pet or a loved one recently, unless you want to feel everything, because it is. I mean, it's a game about death, so like it tackles a lot of sad, but cathartic themes. So, but very good point though, Schwantz. Great fucking game though. I feel like this is, in my opinion, this is a good spot for Spiritfarer. I think any higher maybe is a little too much, but I think it deserves a place on the list, even though it's only 3 years old. I say, we're in the final stretch. We only got 2 left. Next up, 42. We're back to the Dreamcast.
What?
Released in 1999.
Is it ready to rumble?
With 26 points. This had, I believe, if I remember correctly, this game was in 2 people's top 3, which is why it was so high.
That's pre-crime on both of them.
Someone called Tom Cruise.
Shenmue.
Well, you know what? I will say that Tom Cruise kind of does look a little like Shenmue.
Sure. See, I really don't know anything about Shenmue. Is this gentleman that we see on our screen? Is this Shenmue?
This is Shenmue.
Okay.
Shenmue is actually I don't know if that's Shenmue. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I cannot remember a goddamn thing about Shenmue. The story, at least, about Shenmue. I know that someone kills your master, and the whole game is trying to take them down. God. You're looking for sailors. The whole game is just looking for sailors.
Yes, I'm not playing Shenmue now.
Apparently, Shenmue 3 is dog shit. No, there's a lot of like really cool mechanics with Shenmue that kind of like where Earthbound. I think Earthbound's like one of those really interesting games where like people still don't understand how Earthbound works. Shenmue is one of those games where like there's mechanics in this game that don't make sense to really anyone. Where like all of the NPCs have like full schedules. So like if the day is Saturday, that NPC will be doing what their Saturday shit is. And they have job like every NPC in this game has like a design built of like they live their own lives and you just play around. So and keep in mind,
what if we are Shenmue?
We could be Shenmue, guys. We could be Shenmue right now. What's amazing about that though is this game came out on the fucking Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Almost.
So it was dead on arrival.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Schmoz in the chat.
Yeah.
Shenmue walked so that Yakuza could run. It was the prime definition of 2 ahead of its time, and it hasn't aged well. I've heard that about Shenmue. Like I don't know much about the game, but what I have heard about the game is that if you played this when it first came out and you could figure like how it fucking worked, it was like mind-boggling in a lot of ways of the kinds of things it was doing. Like what you were just saying with the schedules, but also like it was kind of in a way like life simmy. Is that right?
Yeah, you could. I mean, you got forklift certified in this game, so you know if that's not life. I don't know what is.
From the bits of Shenmue that I have seen, I've never thought of it that way, but I totally get what you mean, Schmatz, where it walks so that Yakuza could run with all its like little mini game shit.
Yeah.
He says the game made you have a full-time job. Yeah. So what an interesting game.
It is. From what I've heard, Shenmue 3 is and everyone had been waiting for that game to come out. everyone that was a Shenmue fan was like Shenmue 3. And it finally, after like a lot of crowdfunding, and it took like years for this game to show up. And then it came out and everyone was like, man, this game sucks.
Yeah.
It's like a Mighty Number 9 situation. And that's such a bummer for,
yeah.
It'd be like if there would be like Bulletstorm 2's coming out and then it comes out and it sucks. And like, I'd just kill myself. I don't know what else to do at this point in my life.
It's probably gonna. Also, if Liz is still in the chat earlier, she said new drinking game. Every time Cayman says Bulletstorm drink, I have alcohol poisoning. But I wasn't able to slip that in earlier, but now that you brought it up, I could. Love that. Last one for this week, number 41. I think criminally low on the list, but hey, that is the way the news went. That's how the science went. The only game on this list that was released on the PlayStation Vita, and that is Persona 4 Golden.
How in the absolute motherfucking dog shit did this end up at 41?
Yeah, I'll tell you how, because I didn't vote for it.
Ooh, I mean, he makes a great point for science. This was definitely in the top 5 for me. I don't remember which spot it was for me. Okay. But there were a few, but there weren't enough to get it into the top 40. This is a game. I feel like we've talked about this on this podcast a lot at this point, but this game, I think, is like the perfect JRPG.
It is the perfect JRPG.
It is long, but that was something that the Vita, it didn't matter when you had a Vita, because a game could be 1,000 hours on the Vita because you could just play 5 minutes at a time if you wanted, because it was a handheld. It's out now on all the modern consoles. I would say if this is a game that you wanted to play now, if you have a Switch, I would say play it on the Switch, because I think the handheld really serves this game, in my opinion. But it just, the story it tells is fucking great. Getting to like life sim, being a high school student while also fighting monsters at night, and kind of building these relationships with all these different people in this town. It rips on like every level. The art is great. The soundtrack's fucking dope.
The soundtrack, man. I think so. Like,
so good.
It's like the Mount Rushmore. The Mount Rushmore of JRPGs for me is like Final Fantasy X, Dragon Quest XI, Persona 4 Golden, and like Tales of Arise. Are like the 4. Those are like the best of each of their, like, look, I love Persona 5. I think Persona 5 is a fucking masterpiece of a game. Persona 4 Golden, though, there is something about this game that is just on a completely different level.
I agree.
It is a beautiful, beautiful fucking game. Mike, shut the fuck up. We're talking about fucking Persona 4 Golden.
What you got, Mike?
Yeah, I'm about to say something on it. The cover art I'm looking at, I've never played. This is actually not a slight. This is more of like a compliment. Yeah, it gives me big Digimon vibes.
So it's interesting that you say that, because Persona is like Pokemon adjacent in that your personas are essentially like Pokemon. Like you collect them, and each of them have like their own stats and their own like buffs and debuffs and things like that. Like they're, electric or fire or whatever. So like in that way, it is kind of like Pokemon, which is kind of like Digimon.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. Yeah. This cover art, it all looks like, it kind of looks like it's my vibe. It kind of feels like it's up my
street. Add it to your list, buddy.
It's honestly, I would say play this before Final Fantasy X personally.
Yeah.
But
it's quick. I think it's also faster to beat this game probably would be to play Final Fantasy X as well.
Unless you want to go up in scale. Like, if you want the game to be better, then start with Final Fantasy X, because I think this game is better than Final Fantasy
X. I agree. I concur.
But yeah, fucking great.
But then again, you're playing Uncharted 4 and going backwards, so like rules don't matter to Mike. So
sure, he makes his own rules, and that's why I respect him.
Hey, for what it's worth, Uncharted 4 legitimately starts off and he walks through his house and looks at all the other things that he collected from the previous games. I literally was like, oh, okay, I don't need to play any of
that. That's a very good point. They did a good job of being like, here's all the other games. So that's our list. So from 60 to 41, we got Uncharted 2, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Halo, World of Warcraft, World of Warcraft, I already said. Tetris, Katamari Damacy, Stardew Valley, Shadow of the Colossus, Sonic Adventure 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Metroid Prime, Final Fantasy X, The Walking Dead Season 1 by Telltale, Halo 2, Dragon Quest 11, Halo 3, Resident Evil 4, Spiritfarer, a game called Shenmue, and Persona 4 Golden.
A game called Shenmue.
I think this is a solid little batch of 20 here. I didn't play all of them, but I think we're getting into what I think a lot of people could like. There are, I think, at least 1 or 2 games from each of our like top lists in this 20 here. So like we're getting to that point where like we're getting people's 1s, we're getting people's 2s, we're getting people's 3s. So yeah, a good list. How about some snubs? We interested in a little snubbage. Maybe. So, if you've stumbled into the podcast and you haven't listened to parts 1 and 2, I bring in a couple or a few games that didn't make the cut, that didn't make the list at all, but that I feel like if they were going to make it, would be in this general area, which, you might disagree with me on, but I make the fucking rules. We already talked about World of Warcraft, and we unintentionally said on this podcast, I mentioned Warcraft 3, not on the list, but I feel like for the strategy, the Sim strategy game, I feel like Warcraft 3 is like that. A lot of people talk about that as like a top tier one. Didn't make the list. So I thought that was interesting, but I don't expect that would have made like a top 40 per se.
Did you ever play StarCraft?
I never played StarCraft.
It's virtually the same thing. It's just like aliens and things like that.
For sure.
My buddy had it, and we played a lot of StarCraft at night, and it was good stuff. Like especially if you like, it seems like at the Age of Empires, Civilization type of games, that was a good one.
We might see some StarCraft in a future episode, perhaps. That's a little teaser. Also, Schmutz in the chat, can you tell me if I'm the only one that voted for Neon White? You are the only one that voted for Neon White, I believe. That's actually, I haven't played it yet. I still want to play it, mostly because of your recommendation, but I still want to play it. I have not yet. Another snub, The Sims 2. I expected if a Sims were going to make it, it probably would have been in this range. It got a few votes, but it just didn't get enough to make the list. Also, Batman Arkham City, which I think is kind of universally agreed as like the best of the Arkham games, I would think. So I figured like if any of them is going to make it, that one would be it. And I feel like it would probably be in this range.
You platinum. That was when you platinum, right? The Arkham.
I did. Yeah. I platinum Arkham City. I platinum Arkham Knight. I might have also platinum Arkham City, but I definitely platinumed Arkham Knight.
You're a wild man.
Fun games. That is also check the box, the video game. There's so many fucking Riddler trophies.
Good God, that's why I stopped. I was like, fuck this. I'm not even gonna beat the game anymore because this platinum is annoying to me.
Yeah.
Fucked right off.
Another snub, Dragon Age Inquisition.
That's a bummer. Yeah. I know how much you love that game.
That was high on my list. Didn't make the cut though.
That game was a lot of fun. It was once you kind of were able to figure out the controls and able to like switch between the parties quickly. Mm-hmm. It was like butter.
Bit of a learning curve in that game for sure, because I started it and stopped it a few times, but like once I finally got into it, man, I fucking devoured that game. Had so much fun with it. Can't wait for the next one. Although I don't know that it's gonna hit like Inquisition did, but only time will tell. And then final snub for this one. This one it might be a little low. This might have been a snub for like a future episode, but it's in my list now, so I'm gonna say it. Red Dead 1.
That blows my fucking mind.
It doesn't. Isn't that crazy?
1 did not show up on this list at all.
Isn't that crazy? And like again, maybe you could argue that's a top 40, but it certainly had its submissions. It just didn't crack the top 100.
Well, I think
shocked me.
What we've seen is I think that there's games in this list in particular that it feels like didn't make it to the top of a bunch of people's list, but made it on a bunch of people's list. So like, that's it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Red Dead 2 is my personal favorite out of the 3 games because everyone always forgets about Red Dead Revolver.
True, that is true.
So think about that. Not a snub because that game actually wasn't very good.
Wasn't very good.
But even then, like me saying Red Dead 2 is my favorite is not a damn, like I'm not damning Red Dead 1. Red Dead 1 is fucking an incredible game.
Yeah. I prefer Red Dead 1 only from like a pacing standpoint. The
fact that we got Halo 2, Halo 3 all in this one chunk and Red Dead 1 didn't make the list.
That's how it went.
Halo 2 should have went bye-bye.
No,
Well,
I voted for it. So
I
sorry.
Liz in the chat. Red Dead 1 has been on my list because of Red Dead 2, and I'm pissed I haven't played it yet. It's good. You should definitely play it. That'd be a fun stream game, I think. But yeah, I
hold off on playing it unless you can get it without the port thing, because the port apparently is not fantastic, but it still costs like $70 to play. So like, I don't know. That's fucking
Rockstar
stupid.
sucks with their ports.
They're fucking terrible.
But a great game like that. You know, if you aren't aware, Red Dead 1 is GTA but Cowboys. And it's great. So yeah, that's our episode for this week. We had toyed around with the idea of doing a little bonus, you know, if you wanted to stick around to hear our thoughts on new games like Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed Mirage and Mario, but we're already at 1:15. That's a long, this is a long episode. So maybe next week, if the time permits, we can talk about some new games, since this series is kind of put aside unintentionally, like the biggest time in video games this year, to talk about what we're playing. That's for Game of the Year stuff, but we'll get to it. Mike, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, boys. Appreciate it.
What a great time. What a great time. I always welcome on the show.
Time.
Whenever you're interested, you just give us a holler. Now you hear. Cayman, where can, or actually, Mike, where can folks find you on social media?
Ooh, you know what? Fuck me. Follow my girlfriend's interior design page, Eiley Interiors. She's great at it. IHLY Interiors. You should know how to spell that word. Follow that. She's trying to grow the page. She's always posting stuff on it. I'm sure for the males and females out there, you'll love it. Don't follow me. I want to win myself out.
Hell yeah. No, it's a good account. I follow it as well. You guys should follow it. Cayman, how about you? How about the pod?
Yes, sir. You can follow me on Twitter at the Dumpster Boy. Don't follow me on Instagram because I'd never post there ever. Because let's be honest, no one wants to know about what's happening in my real life. It's just depressing all the fucking time. But good news is Save Trash Cinema's fucking back, baby, and we have an episode out live right now. You can find on all of the streaming services that you might be fond of. The episode's covering Finding Jesus. Christian animated film about fish. And yes, it's incredibly profane episode. We talk about everything from how we just talk about bad things. It's a bad episode for bad people. So, and
I think that's the way Jesus would have wanted it.
Jesus. There's a lot of stuff in this episode that Jesus probably wouldn't be huge on. But go listen to that episode. You can find that on all socials at Save Trash Cinema. That's on literally all socials. And hey, just a friendly reminder that it's October, which right now we're currently being sponsored by. We're being sponsored by In Search of Darkness, which is a horror docuseries.
Hell yeah.
And they're currently doing, if you follow our affiliate link for the episode, the affiliate link will take you over and you can pre-order the new series. The new next set of documentaries through In Search of Darkness will be covering the early 90s and horror films. So if you're a horror fan and it's Halloween time, or you have a horror fan in your life that you want a Christmas present for, then maybe go pre-order that. You get 10% off and we get 10% back. So you'll also be supporting us if you do that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the link will be in the description of both the podcast and YouTube. So click it. Buy now. You can follow Spotlight Games at Spot Games Pod on Twitter and Spotlight Games Pod everywhere else on socials. Make sure you're following us on Twitch so that you're notified when we go live. Normally on Tuesdays, as we said today, if you're live with us, thanks for being here. But obviously it's a Wednesday, and that was just because I was sick and needed a little extra time. But next week we'll be back on Tuesday, which is coincidentally Halloween. Are we going to be in costume? Maybe. I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out. YouTube at Spotlight Games Pod as well. This episode will be up on Thursday, as all of our episodes go up on Thursday. So make sure you subscribe there as well. So when you get new videos, you can go like them, go share them as well. But thanks for being here. Thanks for telling all your friends about it, because I know you're about to, that you just love this podcast. And Mike, again, thank you for joining the show. I enjoyed the conversation, as I always do. So until next time, bye-bye.